like no one really knows how he died, but like they're pretty sure he just drank so much he died when he was 50. Like
pretty good for that era.
Yeah.
He went to the doctor and they're like, you have to stop throwing parties every night. But he went to London. He was Shakespeare. The king loved him, and he did Shakespeare shit for 10 years, and he was badass, and everyone thought he was kick ass, and he ruled. And then Shakespeare, he learned that his like son died or something, and he's like, okay, I'll go back to my shitty like hillbilly town where I've abandoned my family, by the way, where my son died.
It wasn't like you just like book a flight. You gotta like you're like,
you gotta walk there.
You gotta fucking I don't even know what they did. Stagecoaches and fucking.
I think like a donkey or something.
Yeah.
A horse, camels.
A horse, and then you'd have to shoot it halfway and just kind of like walk. Yeah.
But then Shakespeare had to like make the voyage back home to
Avon.
Avon Vaughn, some gay shit in the middle of nowhere, and then no one knew he kicked ass, and everybody thought he was cool and that he was a millionaire, and everyone's like, Shakespeare sucks ass. Why is he back? He like abandoned his family. He's only coming back now that his son died, and he wanted to prove to everybody how rich he was. So he like bought like tons of big property, and everyone was like, oh, he is actually really cool. And then he couldn't stop throwing parties because in London he was just being like having gay sex and doing the
funny.
play
Shakespeare
thing.
felt the need to show off. Like people didn't. Like Shakespeare is now N-word rich.
That's that new money.
That's that new money. He's got a new carriage every night.
Yeah. That's why he showed up in that big frilly thing he wore on his neck, and they go, that looks good.
I figured out why they wear those things.
What, for eating pussy?
Yeah. So when you're eating shit, it doesn't fall on your clothes.
And then when you're done eating, you just turn it so it's behind you now.
They didn't want to bathe that much, and those. It's called starched. When
collars.
When you starch something, it just makes it really hard.
Yeah.
They would starch their undershirt thing, and they had these collars that they tucked in, and it would catch all the dirt and like sweat from your head onto that thing. And the wider your like knickers were down here, and the wider that thing was.
Devin gave me a look. Chill ran down her spine.
Sorry, I don't even think they're called knickers. I think I just called them that. I forget what they're called. I think they're just leggings.
Well, they're called pants, but
sure.
I think we left that in the past for a reason.
You could also add bockers to the end.
Yeah, that is
so
the New York Knicks are the New York Knickerbockers.
Yeah.
Can we just call them tube socks? They're just long tube socks.
Yeah, sure. Let's call them that.
Anyway, his Allen Iverson sleeves that he was wearing on his legs.
To cover all his Chinese writing tattoos.
Yeah, the wider those were, the more rich you were. And then since they always apparently everybody smelled like shit. So like these things caught all the shit and stuff. So that's why they wore those.
I love we were so retarded for so long. Like he lived next to a river and could just walk into it and be fine. But we had to invent all these ways, and like these perfume, like people would pay thousands of dollars for perfume back
Spermaceti. They put whale, what they thought was whale cum on themselves and stuff.
It wasn't whale cum?
No, it's the liquid inside of a whale's head that it makes it where they can produce these clicks and these beeps for them to communicate with one another, and it also helps them control the barometric pressure and all this stuff when they dive and makes them go up.
Were they all upset when it wasn't whale cum? Did they all get mad?
That's why they ended whaling, because they're like, we've been had.
We can't. We've been trying to find that. We've been trying to find that cum for years. We can't find it.
Why do you think the Japanese were so good at it? That's all they cared about. They wanted to be bathed in like beasts cum.
Yeah.
Monster cum.
Yeah. They're like, I'm gonna get on this glass table and let the whale shit on top of me. Cover me in shit the size of a Volkswagen.
But the reason I brought up Shakespeare is he was one of those guys where he went to the doctor. He's like, you're gonna die if you keep getting fucked up every night on whatever the fuck they drank then. I think it was mead. And like he didn't stop, and then he just died.
so Shakespeare was basically like Joey in the Middle Ages.
Yeah, but I don't know how how do you back then if you just kept getting fucked up, you died when you were like 50? I genuinely don't get it.
They genuinely did not have
That's
any
a great
medicine.
life
Yeah.
for that era.
It's
What are
not
you
bad.
talking about? That's awesome. He got fucked up all the time. He was Shakespeare and he died at 50. That's like being dying at 80.
Because what are they going to do? They literally, the medicine made you worse.
Yeah.
You would go to the doctor. I think we talked about this before. William Henry Harrison or William McKinley, he got shot and he died not from the gunshot wound. They shoved eggs and cigar smoke up his ass for a month and he starved to death, basically. That was the reason he died. They poured eggs, coffee, and cigar smoke up his ass.
That just sounds like a Friday night to me. Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't get why. I guess because we have omega-3s now and like clean water, and like we take showers, we just live. We can get fucked up every night and make it to like 65.
Yeah. Have you seen a picture of a 30-year-old from like 1960? They look like one of the Ents from Lord of the Rings. They look older than time itself.
I guess I've seen that photo of like a soldier before the Civil War and after, but before he still looks like shit.
You ever see a true crime documentary about like a couple that was killed like in like the late 70s or even the 80s? It'll have a picture of them and they look like they're like they've been together for 20 years and they're 45 years old. And it'll end and go they were both 17.
That guy was fully bald.
Yeah. They looked like shit, just even in the 80s.
Yeah, because they literally didn't even drink water. We didn't even know water was good for you back then.
Everyone then had like the stress of the president.
Yeah.
Where like after 5 years they've aged 30 years.
Yeah. And they were buying houses for $5, but somehow.
Yeah, what were they fucking so stressed about?
I guess the Cold War and the black people having rights and stuff.
And getting old sucked then, because like if you got if you got old and your hearing went, you would just have to hold a big horn up like this to like hear your grandson. Hey, say it. What's that? Say the slur louder for me. I want to hear some zest on it, boy. Come on, make your grandpappy proud.
Yell it down my horn. Angle that slur right into there, boy.
I gotta take a big shit.
Okay.
Can we end?
Yes, sure.
I have to.
We have to take a big shit. I watched The Hunger Games
On the flight.
Yeah, I forgot about it. I was like, man, it was like a fact big man.
You forgot about it?
Yeah, I forgot what the point of the Hunger Games was, and I was like, God damn, they're making these kids fight.
These kids are so damn hungry.
This is mean. What a crazy society.
I want to watch the full games. That seems a little more wholesome to me.
Check one.
I was having like existential moments. I'm like, I would like pause it and be like, huh. You just feel like vulnerable up in the air.
On a plane. Yeah, it really gets you. It'll trick you into thinking that a terrible movie is a masterpiece.
Yep.
Yeah.
I watched the movie called A Perfect World with Kevin Costner. And I guess
dude, I know that movie.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood. I think he directed it.
He steals the kid, and there's like a manhunt for him.
Yeah, he's an escaped convict. He steals the kid, and then like the kid just kind of hangs with him and kind of likes him, and he's like kind of nuts but cool at the same time.
Right.
And he like hates bad dads. And then the end of the movie, it's like he gets taken in. Him and the kid are like they fall asleep in a cornfield in the car, and like a black like groundskeeper guy like stumbles upon them and is like, well, you guys could come in and have supper and a night stay. And they're like, okay, and they're like being very hospitable to them, but then the dad just kind of smacks his kid on the head a few times. So Kevin Costner like ties up the whole family.
Ties up a black
family in
like the late 60s is when the movie takes place.
Like, keeps holding a gun to the black dad's head. It's like insane. It's like this is the message.
I love early 90s movies. They rule.
But his whole thing is he's like, I don't hate shitty dads.
Right.
His whole thing is like, I don't hate black guys, I hate shitty dads.
His whole thing is I hate shitty dads, but the only dad they ever had him be that upset at was an old black guy.
It's like an absent father.
That's the movie.
That's great.
It's called The Perfect World because it was a world where that black guy was tied up with his family.
It's so
doesn't find to tie up his whole family with him as well.
He abuses the dad, scares the living shit out of him, holds a knife to his neck, then then makes like the mom and son, who he like loves the son. He was like dancing with them like minutes earlier, and then makes them just like shut up. And he's holding a gun to this old terrified black guy's head. It's
Jeez,
like,
a guy like who literally like the Ku Klux Klan came out last week to scare him off the property. No black boys farm in this county.
nobody smacks their kid in the head around me.
It's amazing to like the screenwriter listen to